Okay, hello, good day to everyone. Um, I believe this is our first video discussion for this subject, no? Too bad I wasn't able to record our first G-Meet. Kasi it turns out na marami nga palang hindi naka-attend nung first G-Meet natin. And dun kasi ako nag-discuss ng ng chapters 1 and 2. So it turns out nung nag-present kayo, medyo may mga ilang grupo na hindi na naintindihan kung ano nga ba talaga yung dapat ilagay doon sa kanilang chapters 1 and 2. So, yun nga, buti nagkaroon tayo ng ganung klaseng sort of like a consultation para makita ko yung current state ng research ninyo. So, since we are here in the midterms, we will be talking about chapters 3 and 4. Why chapters 3 and 4? Bakit parang medyo nagmamadali ka, sir? I believe I've also explained this reason to some groups kung bakit natin kailangan medyo magmadali sa pag-accomplish ng ating research. So, punta tayo sa ating calendar. Okay. Ayan. So, we are currently here in February and prelim exams just ended last week. So, ano yun, no? Tama ba last week? Actually, hindi. Hindi siya last week. It was the week of 24 to 28, okay? Ay, naalala ko na, sorry. Nagkaroon ako ng short-term memory loss. And then, sa week na ito, in Chinese New Year, okay? So, ito yung week na naghabol tayo ng for the special exams dun sa mga hindi pa nakakapag-exam. And then, uh, midterms already started within this week. February 7 to 11. And then, okay, nandito pala siya. Sorry, nakalimutan ko siya tanggalin. Pero, please disregard na lang. And then, for our midterms exams, it will start at the week of February 28 to March 4, giving us precisely 3 weeks in between to prepare for midterms. So medyo marami ang ating medyo 3 linggo lang, medyo mabilis lang yung meron tayo sa pagitan ng prelim exams at midterm exams. And then pagdating ng March, which is our finals, finals exams will start by March 28 to April 1, Friday, giving us again 3 weeks in between to prepare for finals. Pero usually din kasi um a week before the finals exams tayo nagsisimula ng ating final defense. Kaya giving us 2 weeks in between to prepare for final defense. So 3 weeks for midterms, 2 weeks for finals ang meron tayo. Medyo may time constraint. Kaya sana as much as possible by midterms ay matapos ninyo yung chapters 3 and 4 ninyo. And hindi ko to sinasabi dahil gusto ko magmadali kayo ng grades. Sinasabi ko to for your own convenience din. Para hindi kayo maghabol dito sa 2 linggo na to. Kasi plano ko sana sa 2 linggo na meron tayo nito, consultation tayo and polishing of your research paper and doing your chapter 5, which is your last chapter now, which is madali lang naman din yun talaga gawin. Conclusions and recommendations. So, yon sana ang plano natin. Sana ma-achieve natin yon. At sana meron din tayong time para magawa yon. Kasi we currently we have a lot on our plates. And ayun nga, nagkakaroon ng sakit yung iba't ibang tao due to it being too stressful. So, yun. With that being said, tayo ay magsimula na sa ating chapter 3 discussion. So, pasensya na doon sa nakita ninyo. Please disregard it na lang. It's part of my personal life kasi. So, wag na lang natin pag-usapan. Okay. So, let's begin with chapter 3. Methodology. So, the first category that we have under chapter 3 to do is research design. So sa research design natin, dito natin nilalagay or dito natin nilalagay yung sagot doon sa tanong na madalas kong tinanong din sa inyo nung kayo ay nag-present, which is how are you planning to conduct your study? how do you plan to gather your data? Um, ano yung plano ninyo para sa inyong research? And I've already given you a video about the difference of qualitative and quantitative design. So if you want a little refresh course study doon sa sa subject matter na iyon, you may visit the link that I've posted doon sa G Classroom natin before, nung prelim time pa lang tayo. And to further discuss what are the differences or ano pa ba yung mga iba't ibang specific na paraan ng paggawa ng research aside from it being a qualitative or being a quantitative design. So, punta tayo sa Google, sa best friend natin. Search research design. And then, dito tayo sa link na to. Okay. Let's skip some of these parts. We've already tackled qualitative and quantitative design. Dito tayo ngayon sa... Nagulat naman ako. Nag-pop up na to. Okay. So you can further break it down to the types of research design into 5 more categories. So ano pa ba yung mga mas specific na categories under the types of research design? First, we are talking about descriptive research design. In this design, a researcher is solely interested in describing the situation or case under their research study. It is a theory-based design method which is created by gathering, analyzing, and presenting collected data. This allows a researcher to provide insights into the why and how of research. Helps uh, help helps others better understand the need for the research. If the problem statement is not clear, you can conduct exploratory research. So, to put it simply, ang binasa natin, descriptive research design is meron kayong dinedefine, meron kayong gustong patunayan with the use of other researchers or conducting your own research design, which is quantitative ba or qualitative ba, meron kayong gustong patunayan, meron kayong gustong i-define na theory. It is a theory-based design method. So for example, dito sa aming research na makikita ninyo, it is a quantitative descriptive design. So bakit kami gumamit ng quantitative and then descriptive pa? The structure is not changed for centuries. Quantitative research design is an excellent way of finalizing results and proving or disproving a hypothesis. We have a theory in mind kasi. Dito pa lang sa hypothesis namin, makikita ninyo. Sorry. Yan. Sa hypothesis namin, makikita ninyo that we have a theory. In this study, the researchers are assuming something. Meron kaming theory, meron na kaming idea in mind. It will be proved that Instagram is an effective platform for e-commerce. And what better way to conduct this study than a quantitative research design? Okay? And then, next, bakit tayo gumamit ng descriptive? Kasi we are a theory-based nga, di ba? We are a theory-based research. Kaya gusto naming, meron kami gustong i-prove. Kaya ginamit namin yung quantitative na descriptive research design. Next is experimental research design. When we say experimental naman, ang difference nito is dun nga, diba? Sa descriptive, you are defining something. You are proving something. Theory-based kayo. Sa experimental research design naman, meron kayong tanong na gustong masagot. Meron kayong iniisip na idea and you want to conduct different experiments para ma-prove kung ano man or para makahanap kayo ng sagot doon sa tanong na hinahanap ninyo. At doon sa tanong na gusto ninyong masagot. So, sometimes, yes, of course, most of the times, since experimental design, meron tayong independent variables and dependent variables. And madalas, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is how the independent variables will cause an impact dun sa ating dependent variables. Nakalagay dito, di ba? It is a causal design where one observes the impact caused by independent variable on the dependent variable. So for example, the one monitors the influence of an independent variable such as the price on a dependent variable such as the customer satisfaction. Meron bang kinalaman ang presyo ng isang bagay sa dependent variable nyo, which is customer satisfaction or brand loyalty? So para gawin yon, the independent variables are manipulated to monitor the change it has on the dependent variable. So um, dito sa example na to, naisip ng researcher na tingnan siguro natin kung bababaan natin yung price natin, gaano maapektuhan ng ating customer satisfaction. Ganon ang pag-iisip ng experimental research design. More on gathering a specific data for the betterment of a specific research. So, pwede naman isipin paano maapektuhan ang customer satisfaction ng mga tao pag tinaasan natin yung price natin. Mas mapaperceive ba nila na mas maganda ang quality pag mas mahal ang isang bagay? Or matatend nila na hindi na lang bumili kasi sobrang mahal na? Paano maapektuhan ng isang independent variable ang dependent variable natin? So, yon ang experimental research design. And to gather your data, what you are planning to do is to act on it. Itataas mo talaga yung presyo or ibababa mo talaga yung presyo. Maghahanap ka ngayon ng data. So that is experimental research design. Correlational research design, binigay ko na ito. I've tried to discuss this with some of your co-classmates na some of your classmates, hindi ko lang kung ba't sinabi ko yun, some of your classmates na meron silang specific na statement of the problem, which is yung naghahanap sila ng social demographic profile ng ng mga tao. And sorry, excuse me. And I've explained this to everyone na ang correlation study is you are trying to get if there is a relationship sa isang definition or isang category sa isang category ng data sa isa pang category ng data na meron tayo. So to help you better understand what is correlation, punta po na tayo sa statement of the problem namin. Ayan. Sa statement of the problem namin, nakalagay dyan, we are looking for the socio-demographic profile of our respondents. Kung ano ang age nila, kung ano ang gender nila, and kung ano ang college nila. This will create our first category of data, the socio-demographic profile of our respondents based on age, based on gender, and based on college. So ito yung una naming specific data. And then, next naman, is if there is any significant relationship, our next statement of the problem, is there any significant relationship between the level of effectiveness of Instagram to the socio-demographic profile? Kung meron bang significant na relationship etong category 1 namin, which is the socio-demographic profile, doon sa category 2 ng data namin, which is yung level of effectiveness of Instagram. Meron bang relasyon or meron bang kinalaman ng edad ng isang tao doon sa pagka-epektibo ng Instagram for e-commerce, 'di ba? And to again help you better understand correlation, punta tayo sa correlation. Punta tayo sa correlations part ng aming ayan. Okay. So correlations. Dito niyo makikita na ayan, 'di ba? First is gusto namin makita if yung category 1 ng data namin ay may kinalaman ba doon sa category 2 ng data namin. Category 1 of our data consists of gender, age, and college, which is yung socio-demographic profile ng aming respondents. And yung category 2 namin is yung level of effectiveness of Instagram based on our questionnaires, based on our the data that we have gathered. So first is gender. Okay. So gender, lumalabas after doing Pearson's correlation, lumalabas na there is a statistically significant effect between whether the person is male or female and their use of Instagram as platform for buying products online. Ibig sabihin, merong kinalaman ang gender ng isang tao, whether male or female siya, doon sa pagiging effective ng Instagram as a platform for buying products online. Next, college. May kinalaman ba kung saan naka-enroll yung estudyante based doon sa pagka-effective ng Instagram? Turns out, wala. Meaning there is no significant effect between whether the person is from Faculty of Civil Law, Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, and graduate school, and the use of Instagram as a platform for buying products online. So, ibig sabihin, wala. And then lastly is yung edad ng tao, age. May kinalaman ba? Turns out, yes. Meaning there is a statistically significant effect between whether the person is between 19 to 35 years old and the use of Instagram as a platform for buying products online. So may kinalaman ang edad ng isang tao sa pagiging effective ng Instagram as a platform for buying products online. That is a sample of correlation design or correlation study. Next is we have diagnostic research design. In diagnostic design, the researcher is looking to evaluate the underlying cause of a specific topic or phenomenon. This method helps one learn more about the factors that create troublesome situations. So, sa diagnostic research design natin, meron kayong specific situation na gusto mong malaman kung bakit nagkakaroon ng ganitong situation. Bakit nagkakaroon ng ganitong moment, 'di ba? Ano yung mga underlying cause or underlying factors na rason for this specific phenomenon. So, for example, biglang sikat ng milk tea sa Pilipinas. Ano ang underlying cause nito? You will conduct then a diagnostic research design. Tutulungan mo ngayon yung community malaman kung bakit nga ba merong ganitong klaseng phenomenon. Aside from that, sige, let's try to apply it into a more troublesome situations or on a more serious note. Bakit marami ngayon ang pusher ng mga drug? Ano ang underlying cause? Kung ano yung pinaka-root ng problema? Kung bakit marami mga nagiging pusher ng drugs, 'di ba? Or other cases, bakit ang dami ngayon sa politiko na corrupt? Bakit ano yung nangyari doon sa ating government? Saan nagsimula yung corruption and papaano ito nag-grow doon sa mindset ng mga tao? Papaano nag-grow sa mindset ng mga tao na okay lang mag-elect ng corrupt? Mga ganong klaseng bagay. Those are done here in diagnostic research design. And then next, ito very simple lang naman, explanatory research design uses a researcher's ideas and thoughts on a subject to further explore their theories. The research explains unexplored aspects of a subject and details about what, how, and why of research questions. Usually, usually para ka nagturo dito or para ka nagre-report ng isang bagay, ng isang topic. You are trying to explain something doon sa ating audience. The difference of explanatory research design and descriptive research design. In descriptive research design, it is a theory-based design. So ibig sabihin, meron kang sinusubukan patunayan. Pagdating naman sa explanatory research design, meron kang simple enough ina-explain lamang. So, yun ang different. That will cover research design. And I believe most of you will only include here quantitative research design. So, okay lang kahit wala na kayong ilagay whether you will conduct a descriptive design or you will conduct experimental design to gather your data or you will do diagnostic. Kayo na bahala kung gusto nyo. Pero okay lang kahit quantitative or qualitative lang ilagay nyo sa research design niyo. Siyempre, mas maganda kung meron kayong mas specific na ilalagay. Next. Tapos na tayo sa isa sa mga medyo mabibigat na gawing research design. Please lang, may mga nakikita akong memes dito na sinishare nila. pre, gawa ka naman ng research design, tapos gagawa sila ng out of Canva, parang poster or parang outline ng isang papel, design down ng research nila, putting in various visuals such as colors, frames, etc., etc. My goodness, that is not a research design. This is how you do a research design, whether it's quantitative or qualitative, whether it's a descriptive, experimental, explanatory, and other various forms of research design. So, punta na tayo sa data gathering procedure. Sa data gathering procedure, of course, if you are planning to have a quantitative design, more on survey questionnaires kayo since you are gathering a huge amount of number population. Pag qualitative naman kayo, more on interviews kayo or more on intimate gathering procedures. Um, Kasi more specific or meron kayo nga, more specific na hinahanap na sample from your population. So dito sa amin, we conducted a survey type of data gathering procedure. The use of surveys is one of the most effective methods in data collecting. Pwede nyo i-copy na lang din ito or pwede kayong gumawa. Mas maganda kung gagawa kayo ng sarili ninyo, of course. Para sariling gawa talaga ninyo yung research. And then ayan, questionnaires will be distributed to the target participants. Target participants, specifically postgraduates of of UST. So, blah, 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 blah. More, more definition kung bakit. And ayan nga, lumalabas din dito that we even consulted a com arts expert and advertising expert para malaman namin kung ano ba talaga yung mga dapat namin ilagay sa aming research instruments. And kayo rin, you are free to do so. If you have friends who are currently enrolled in business administration, major in marketing or major in financial management, and or meron kayong mga kilala sa kahas kahas sa CAS department, yung arts and sciences natin. Pwede kayong magtanong sa kanila, mag-consult kung tama ba yung mga research yung mga questions niyo doon sa inyong questionnaires. Okay. And then ayan, sampling method tayo. Sampling method is how we look for our respondents. Most of the groups that I have seen sa kanilang research, naghahanap sila ng respondents doon sa mga estudyante ng St. Jude College. Particularly in the hospitality management side and the tourism side of the of School of Management in St. Jude. So, merong rason or merong specific sampling method na ginawa ang mga tao, believe it or not. May specific sampling method sila in mind when choosing St. Jude students. So, hindi lang pala tayo basta-basta pumili dahil lang gusto natin yung St. Jude students. Meron din palang underlying na meaning kung bakit natin pinili sila. So again, to help us better understand sampling methods, punta tayo sa ating kaibigan na si Google and search sampling methods. Let's go with Qualtrics, this link. Ayun. Okay. Sampling. To help you better first understand what is sampling, define muna natin yung difference ng population tsaka ng sampling or ng sample. A population is more of a general category, and then sampling is picking out a specific category within that population. So an example that I can give is, okay, para sa convenience at para sa kadalian ng mga tao, let's say population is the college students of Manila. Malaking population na yon when we say college students of Manila, since we have many universities around Manila, diba? And many universities and colleges, one being St. Jude. So, yun na, diba? Napakalaking population na yon. College students living in Manila or college students, wag na lang living, college students who are enrolled in Manila universities or colleges. And then, when we say sampling, we pick out a more specific category within that population. So sa population natin, college students enrolled in universities or colleges around Manila, pipili kayo ngayon. Sabihin natin HRM students or HRM slash tourism students who are currently enrolled in universities or colleges in Manila. That is a sampling. That is a sample, di ba? It is a smaller number within your population that will represent the whole. So, yun yung sample natin. And then, actually, medyo broad pa siya eh. Pwede mo pa siyang mas specific. And, and yung mas specific na yon, it will base kung okay, kung gaano ba, kung ano yung gagawin mong sampling method. Dun na yon magbe-base. Kung gaano ka-specific yung iyong kukunin na sample out of a population. So, why is sampling important? We are, of course, when we gather our data and research, as much as possible, we want it bias-free. Hindi po yung bias ng BTS ha, or bias ng any other K-pop groups. What we say here in bias is yung merong pinapanigan na side yung isang specific sample or population. So yun yung iniiwasan natin kasi as much as possible, we want a concrete data. We want a data that is clean, malinis, free of bias, na walang pinapanigan. So, yun yung importance ng sample natin. Kasi pag nagkaroon ng kahit kaunting bias, o hindi naman kahit kaunti, basta pag nagkaroon ng bias ng isang sample mo, bumababa ang credibility niya. So, paano natin ngayon malalaman kung paano tayo kukuha ng sample? Sino sa ating population ang ating kukunan ng data? And to help us better understand sampling methods, first, let's discuss probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, also known as random sampling, is a kind of sample selection where randomizations is used instead of deliberate choice. As much as possible, pipili ka ng random doon sa specific population mo. So for example, population natin kanina is college students college students who are enrolled in universities or colleges in Manila. Paano ka ngayon kukuha ng probability sampling? Random lang. Pipili ka lang doon sa population mo kung sino yung mga respondents na kukunin mo. And when we say non-probability sampling naman, of course, given the term itself, ito yung kabaligtaran ng probability sampling. Techniques are where the researcher deliberately picks items or individuals for the sample based on their research goals or knowledge. Again, pipili ng mga respondents based on the researcher's goals and knowledge. Kung ano ba yung purpose ng study nila. So, yon. Yun ang difference ng probability and non-probability. Sa probability, more on randomization ang ginagawa sa pagpili ng respondents. Sa non-probability sampling naman, meron kayong specific individuals na pinipili para doon sa inyong research based sa inyong goals, capabilities, and knowledge. Next, let's define what are the different probability sampling methods. So first, we have a total of 4 probability sampling methods. First is simple random sampling. To help you better understand, simple random sampling is random. Yun lang yun. Out of 500 population, random ka lang magbibigay. An example of this is assigning each item or person in the population a number and then picking numbers at random. So example, ikaw si number 1, ikaw si number 2, ikaw si number 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. hanggang 500. And then out of 1 to 500, pipili ako ng 10 na random numbers para maging respondents sa aking research. That is simple random sampling. Purely randomized. So this really removes all risk of bias since you rely on chance, 'di ba? You rely on luck dun sa pagpili, or you rely on randomized data para makakuha ka ng respondents mo. So, it really removes all risk of bias. Next is systematic sampling. With systematic sampling, also known as systematic clustering, the random selection only applies to the first item chosen. A rule then applies so that every n item or person after that is picked. Um, teka. Sige, to help us really better understand systematic sampling, let's go with this link na lang. Mhm. Ayun, mas klaro to. Mas klaro tong definition na to. Or really, to better understand, to help you better understand, bibigyan na lang ako ng example. Ito yung example na nandito. So, a researcher intends to collect a systematic sample of 500 people in a population of 5,000. So, ibig sabihin, 500 na katao ang kailangan niya makuha in a population of 5,000. 500 respondents. Papaano ngayon siya pipili ng 500 respondents out of 5,000? Tulad ng ginawa natin kanina dun sa simple random sampling, nag-assign tayo ng numbers dun sa each individual from 1 to 500. Dito, pwede rin natin gawin din yon. Pwede kayo mag-assign ng numbers 1 to 5, dito in this case, 1 to 5,000 since 5,000 yung population. And then, pipili kayo ng kada 10, every 10th individual to be part of the sample. So, in every 10th individual, doon sa inassign mo numbers from 1 to 5,000, sila yung magiging respondents mo para doon sa research mo. Yun yung systematic sampling. So, halimbawa, every 10th individual, di ba? So, nakalagay dyan si 10th, and then si 20th, and then si 30th, si 40th, 50th, 60th, 60th individual, 70, 80th, and then 90 pataas, yun na, kung ilan man yun. Yun. Yun yung pagpili mo ng sample mo. So, random pa rin siya, pero meron ng system. And then, the next method that we have is stratified. Sa stratified sampling, ito na lang din tayo nga para may examples mas madali explain. Sa stratified sampling, researcher divides the population into smaller groups that don't overlap but represent the entire population. So, meron kang kinakategorize mo yung population mo into different subgroups. Pero yung mga subgroups na yon, hindi sila nag-overlap. What do I mean by What do I mean by overlapping? The specific individual belongs to one specific group only or one specific subgroup only. So, halimbawa nito is age, 'di ba? Sa age natin, pag sinabi nating ages 19 to 25, ibig sabihin, respondents belonging to ages 19 to 25 are only allowed to have to have the research. And then from a population of 5,000, pipili ka ng ages 26 to 40. Ibig sabihin, those people who belong to the age of 26 to 40, sila lang yung pwedeng kunan ng response para dun sa research. So that is stratified random sampling. You are creating subgroups doon sa iyong population, and those subgroups do not overlap each other. One person can only be under one specific subgroup. Dito sa example na ito, researcher looking to analyze the characteristics of people belonging to different annual income divisions will create strata or groups according to the annual family income. So based on family income ito. So a specific family can only belong to one subgroup, which is in this case kung less than 20,000 or $21,000, and then 30, 31 to 40, $41 to $50. So, merong specific subgroup at isa lang ang pwedeng ikabilang ng isang research individual. So, that is stratified random sampling. And then, lastly, we have the cluster. We have the cluster sampling. And sa cluster sampling naman, para ka rin nagkikreate ng different subgroups, only this time, mas malawak yung kanyang representation. So, research divide the entire population into sections or clusters that represent a population. Clusters are identified and included in the sample based on demographic parameters. So, sorry, that is a correction on my part. Parating, ang pinaka-difference ng cluster sampling at ng stratified random sampling. Pag nag-cluster sampling kayo, mostly based on demographic parameters siya, like age, sex, location, etc. Tulad nung naging example ko kanina na age. So, mainly, halos parehas lang din. Sorry. Halos parehas lang din yung definition ng cluster sampling at ng stratified random sampling. Only this time, pag cluster sampling, more on demographic parameters tayo, such as age, sex, or location, tulad na naging example ko kanina. This example, yung age. This example better illustrates stratified random sampling. Okay, so I stand corrected on that part. Pasensya na. Let's proceed with types of non-probability sampling methods. So, mabilis lang din naman to. First is convenience sampling. Pipili ka ng sample sa isang population based sa convenience nyo, sa availability ng iyong respondents. Dito pumapasok yung choice ninyo na kumuha ng students from St. Jude. If you can see it here in this example. For example, ayan, a convenience sample might consist of students or co-workers who happen to be on campus with open schedules who are willing to take your questionnaire. So, yung pinakamadaling sample na makuha ninyo, yun na yun. That is convenience sampling. And that is what you can include as well in your research para doon sa may mga nakalagay na students sa St. Jude. Okay, so I'm so sorry for that interruption. Let's proceed with the other non-probability sampling methods. So tapos na tayo sa convenience sampling and we've discussed it as a sampling method purely out of convenience. Yun lang ang rason kung bakit yun yung sample mo. And ito rin yung usual na case sa atin sa St. Jude. Most of the studies I have seen, pinipili ang St. Jude students for their respondents, and the reason for that is convenience, since madali lang kasi and very accessible ang data na ito, since you guys belong into one specific campus. So proceed tayo. Let's have the purposive sampling. When we say purposive sampling, researchers purely consider the purpose of the study along with the understanding of the target audience. So, for instance, when researchers want to understand the thought process of people interested in studying for their master's degree, the selection criteria will be, are you interested in doing your master's in? And those who responded with a no are excluded from the sample. So, meron kayong specific na yung theory ninyo or yung research idea ninyo, meron kayong kailangan na category na kailangan ma-achieve muna ng inyong respondents. So, parang naalala ko merong research na before na ang target nila ay yung mga nanonood ng travel vlogs. So, ang ginawa nila, one of their questions first before collecting data is, are you watching travel vlogs? So, yun yung unang question. And those who answered yes will proceed or will be considered as a valid response. And those who answered no which means na hindi sila nanonood ng travel vlogs, their responses are considered invalid. So, hindi mo sila pwedeng i-consider as a response. So, yun yung purposive sampling natin. Meron munang kailangang criteria na ma-meet yung respondents natin bago natin sila um, pwedeng i-consider as a valid response. So, next is snowball sampling. Pag sinabi natin snowball sampling, um, based on the term itself, no, snowballing, ibig sabihin you are purely relying on luck to find a respondent who fits your criteria. Usually, snowball sampling is used para dun sa mga topic na medyo sensitive or medyo mahirap kumuha ng respondents. So yun nga, such as illegal immigrants or surveying shelter people. Other sensitive issues like say for example, gather information about HIV/AIDS. Syempre hindi naman ganoon din kadali na tanungin sa mga tao, 'di ba? Halimbawa, you don't simply run to a specific person and ask him or her if he or she is positive with HIV. So sa snowball sampling, you try your best to find a respondent who fits your criteria and is willing to give you data doon sa data na kailangan mo kuha or doon sa research idea mo. Okay, so pasensya na talaga guys. Medyo inaatake na ako ng allergies ko. So, I'll try to make this as quick as possible na. Lastly natin is quota sampling. Pagdating sa quota sampling naman, to help us better understand, mas maganda na bibigyan ko kayo ng example. So, di ba kanina meron tayong probability sampling methods such as yung cluster tsaka yung stratified wherein we create specific subgroups and then from those specific subgroups you pick randomly doon sa subgroups na yon. Pagdating naman sa quota sampling. Sorry. So for example, 'di ba nga sa stratified, nandun yung idea na dapat hindi nag-overlap yung subgroups natin. Kailangan nakabelong lang sa isang particular category yung isang tao. Sa sorry. And then sa cluster sampling naman, yun yung you create subgroups um, based on based on the social demographic profile or more on the demographic profile of the person, of the individual or of the population rather. And then when we say quota sampling naman, is you apply specific quotas doon sa madalas din naman is social demographic. So, ano po, sir, yung pinaka-difference ng quota sampling doon sa cluster sampling natin? Sa cluster sampling natin, first, you divide your population based on specific subgroups pertaining to each demographic profile. Like say, for example, based on age, and then based on location of the people, based on sexual preference, and then from that specific subgroup, you try to get samples based on random lang. So out of, 'di ba, nakapag-create ka na ng subgroups. And then you pick a random respondent based on that specific subgroup. Whereas pag quota sampling naman, parang pa nag-a-apply ng filter. Parang ganun. Parang nag-a-apply ng mas specific pa na filter doon sa mga search engines natin. So for example, in a sample size of 500 respondents, ang kukunin mo lang is pantay, 250 male and 250 female. And then i-apply mo rin na 100 respondents lang, each ages of 16 to 20, 21 to 30, etc., etc. Kung mapapansin nyo, 'di ba? Total pa rin yan is 500. So, wait, 500 respondents. Next is yung employment status nila. 350 ang employed and 150 ang unemployed. And location, 50 per state. So, yun yung quota sampling natin. Okay, so pasensya na talaga guys. Medyo hindi na talaga maganda yung pakaramdam ko. So, I'll cut to the chase. Doon nga ako ngayon sa mga mas specific points na ng research natin. So, to last few words na lang bago matapos tayo dun sa sampling methods natin. Dito sa study namin, gumamit kami ng multi-stage sampling. So, pwede nyo rin itong gamitin. You applied different sampling methods para makuha mo yung sample size mo sa population. So, sa case namin, first, we did a convenience sampling where the researchers chose the students of UST for proximity. Since sila yung pinakamalapit na pwede namin makuhaan ng responses, dun kami. So, we use convenience sampling. In the next stage, we use purposive sampling wherein we collected postgraduate students who are part of the millennial population or yung Generation X natin. Since postgraduate students are a huge variety yan. Meron tayong sorry. Sorry talaga. Meron tayong mga from uh, matanda na, 'di ba? Ages 40 and above. Meron tayong mga yet still, 'di ba? May postgraduate students na 50 and above na. May postgraduate students tayo na bata pa lang like um, fresh from college. So we only pick specific specific individuals for our study, those who we can consider as millennials. So meron silang, 'di ba, ang we defined we defined purposive sampling doon sa dapat meron muna silang category na masagot bago natin sila pwede i-consider as part of our respondents. So in this case, millennial yung naging purpose namin. So, yun, with the definition that we gave here in data gathering procedure, we then defined our participants of the study who are the postgraduate students. So, nilagay lang namin dito kung bakit sila ang pinili namin ng mga respondents. First is these students are young adults who are more or less working and earning already. Chosen populace are willing to spend more money for food than students who lacks the financial stability. Also, postgraduate students are at the age where they are fond of exploring new kinds of trends, which are millennials, di ba? So, uh, dinefine lang namin dito sa participants of the study kung bakit sila yung napili namin na pwedeng angkop as sample size. Okay, I'm so sorry for nagka-cut-cut na ako ng videos ngayon. I have to take short pauses every once in a while kasi medyo lumalala na yung allergies ko. So, still, I want to finish this tonight para makapag-post na kagad ako. Kahit isa lang. For statistical treatment of data, tapos na tayo na ba? Tapos na tayo sa participants of the study. Dito tayo ngayon sa statistical treatment of data. Oh, my goodness. Wait, please give me a few moments. Okay. When we say statistical treatment of data, ito yung ginagamit mong method para malaman mo kung ano nga ba yung pinaka-data na na-gather mo. I mean, ano ba talaga yung based from the data gathering procedure, like say for example, yung inyong mga questionnaires or surveys, what is your actual data or kung ano ba talaga yung actual na nire-represent ng data na na-gather ninyo. And you can do that, you can find that answer based on your statistical treatment of data. So in here, we have here two methods. We have the percentage method, percentage frequency, and we have the Pearson correlation method. And I highly suggest you just stick For those students who are doing a quantitative research design, um, mas maganda na mag-focus na lang kayo sa percentage frequency formula. So ano nga ba yung first percentage frequency formula? To help you better understand, let's go with chapter 4. Nakalagay dito, ayan, frequency percentage, very easy. Out of 300 respondents, 147 respondents ang nagsabi na male sila, while 153 respondents naman ang nagsabi na female sila. And 147 represents 49% and 153 represents 51%. That is frequency percentage formula. Okay, some more tables that you can consider for percentage frequency formula. Punta tayo doon sa Likert scale, ano namin. Likert scale, ayan. Mga Likert scale questions namin. When we say Likert scale, ito yung may from the range of 1 to 5, saan kayo pinaka-belong. Like, say for example, 1 being the weakest point and then 4 being or 5 being the highest point, which sometimes ayan, um more form of strongly disagree if it's the opinion of other people. You say excellent based on grade. If you are trying to grade something, excellent, excellent, average, and then poor or neutral, mga ganun. Yun yung Likert scale natin. Minsan, minsan nire-represent siya ng numbers, minsan nire-represent siya ng names or ng words. So, ito example ng isang Likert scale. Pwede nyo gamitin din para sa mga nagka-quantitative design. Out of 300 respondents, dito na lang tayo. Out of 300 respondents, one lang ang sumagot that response to the participants regarding the effectiveness of Instagram as a social medium for visual advertisements. So, solely for visual advertisements lang. Ang question namin dito is ayan, mga advertisements. Post on Instagram, give better emphasis on the product, being able to get more information about the product, etc., etc. So, yon. Balik tayo. Table 3.1, nakalagay dito. Table 3.1 shows the first part of the response of the participants regarding the effectiveness of IG as a social media platform for visual advertisements. Ito yung give better emphasis on the product. The table illustrates how the posts in Instagram give better emphasis on the product. Most of the respondents confirmed that the said statement with 46% who agreed and 44% who strongly agreed. So, ibig sabihin, doon sa tanong na doon sa doon sa idea ninyo na Instagram or doon sa idea ng researchers dito that IG give better emphasis on the product since the first part of our questionnaire is solely based on visual advertisements. We want to get their opinion if they agree that IG give better emphasis. And it shows that they did. They agree with the idea since 46 and 44% ang sumagot ng agree. So that is percentage frequency formula. Another thing then, siguro, the next part tayo. Wait for a while. Excuse lang. Alright. This. The next speculation that we have, or the next idea that we have, is being able to get more information about the product. With the use of IG, they get more information about the product. Above half of the total postgraduate students, 53% agreed with the statement. So that's how you do percentage frequency formula. Kasi nga, yan, agree 53%, 32.3 naman yung strongly agree, based on the Likert scale method. For those students who have qualitative design naman, yung mga mag interview dyan, please send me a private message para mas matulungan ko kayo sa ano natin, sa study natin. Okay. And then lastly, we have here analysis and interpretation of the data. Ayan. When we say analysis, ito lang yung parang pinaka summary ng ano, ng survey natin. Ang pinaka summary ng data na nag-gather ninyo. And that's it. And when we say interpretation naman, ito na yung pumapasok yung ating conceptual framework na sinabi ko sa inyo dun sa chapter 2 natin. A conceptual framework that could help us better understand or to help us give more credibility dun sa ating perspective or dun sa ating pagkaka-interpret sa data na nag-gather natin. So I hope that is clear with everyone. Pasensya na kung medyo nagkakaroon ng delays, and I turned off the video dito sa last part na ng ating video discussion kasi medyo hindi na maganda yung lagay ko ngayon. Okay. So with that being said, again, I will be open for consultation. My personal number is ready to receive any inquiries from the group, and to help you better understand. If you want to have consultation, feel free to message me and mag-set tayo ng schedule for that. Okay, so that being said, have a blessed evening or morning or afternoon kung kailan nyo man papanoorin ito. But for my end, I will try to do some more work after this, since medyo maraming responsibilities talaga. Okay, so that being said, thank you so much for listening, and I hope meron kayo naintindihan. Questions and concerns, feel free to message me anytime. Bye guys, thank you.